their community will continue with the coming up of the Brics, bringing into the downfall of the US dollar as the number one currency in the world. So the coming up of the Brics started with the USA trying to bring Ukraine into the NATO, and Ukraine being a neighbor of Russia and part of former USSR, this is the Soviet Union. Vladimir Putin and Russia decided to invade Ukraine, as we all know, because they saw this as a danger for them. So due to that, as we earlier spoke, USA together with the European Union and NATO sanctioned Russia in different aspects, economically, or with the SWIFT, for example. And as I earlier explained before, with many countries having that compromise or not having an agreement on a certain topic with USA, and USA sanctioning them with respect to the dollar. This gave the envy to many of these countries, wanting not to rely anymore on the US dollar's supremacy. And this began with the financial agreement between China and Russia, where Russia is now selling most of its gas using the Chinese yuan, and it's been said that almost every trade in Russia now is done using the Chinese yuan. Equally, Kenya buying now its the Saudi Arabian petrol in Kenyan shillings. And so the coming up of the Brics, the main game changer. The Brics, which involves Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. And you can realize that all these countries have their own currency, but they now come up with that to form a new one that for them might lead to the fall down of the US dollar as the number one currency in the world. And for a moment now, it's been said that countries that make up the Brics community have overtaken the G7 members, who are made up of Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, Britain, USA, and the European Union in terms of their gross domestic product, GDP, having about 31.5% of the world's GDP. That's for the Brics, whereas the G7 community already have less than 30% of the world's gross domestic product, GDP. And also in terms of PPT too, the leader of the French movement, Patriots, Florian Philippe, shared on his Twitter account that the Brics have become economically more powerful than the G7 in terms of the PPP. It's also true even in the terms of the population. We have now the Brics community having a bigger population than the G7 community. Just see, the Brics is made up of Brazil, that's a very high population. Russia, that also has a high population. India, that has a high population, and which is, if not is the fact now, India will be the most populated country in the world, if it is not so already now. China, which is very populated, and South Africa, which makes the Brics community having a greater population than the G7 community. And due to this fact, many countries are likely to join the Brics. We have Tunisia, Nigeria, and Algeria, who would like to join the Brics, just to name these few countries. Yeah. To conclude, Now, concerning Africa, realize that in Africa, many of the countries, like as we said, Tunisia turning down the IMF in order to join the Brics, Nigeria with their own currency, and many others, Kenya, who have their own currencies, might likely join the Brics. Algeria, Brics are to join the Brics. They have this capability, they have this opportunity to join the Brics, and I think it's also a good opportunity for Africa in order to develop. But now, however, we realize that the countries that are really francophone, countries that that still use the franc CFA, it might be very difficult for them. Countries like Cameroon, the SEMA countries, and Côte d'Ivoire, Togo, for example, these countries that still use the franc CFA, that were former colonies of France. It will be very difficult for them, because it's very difficult for a country to develop economically when still using another person's currency. It will be very difficult for them. It will be very difficult for these countries, in order for them to try to jump into the opportunity. They might really we also get rid of the franc CFA. And to finally end, the end of the US dollar's reign is not for now. That's what you should understand. It's not for now, but its supremacy won't be like before, since it is losing its credibility. It might take time, and with respect to the other countries going up, China, Russia, as we said, as they are going up, they can't be intimidated anymore by the USA like it was before, because they are now really powerful, very powerful in many domains. So I will just end this video by saying that as time changes, world forces do change too. Thank you. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and share. Bye bye.